Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the RapChat podcast. Now, before we head into the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, remember to comment, and also subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating, and also please leave us that review. You can check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at the RapChat Official, where we post things all RapChat and Raptors related. We are your host, Luke Dick.
Elias Eldridge.
And Sam Kenny.
Now, we are excited to be back here with you guys again today. Second week of NBA, second week of Raptors basketball.
A positive week, 2-1. At the time of this recording, there's no game tonight, right?
Yeah, there's no game tonight,
exactly.
but there'll be a
two
game.
There's a game tonight.
There's a game tonight.
There's a game
Last
out.
night, there was
Yeah.
no game, yeah.
But it's just, we have the Hawks tomorrow. I mean, we'll talk about it at the end of the podcast.
That'll be a fun one.
I'm excited for
similar
that
records. They're only one up us in the standings.
Well, and it's the young teams right now are really good, and I've yet to watch the Hawks and DeJounte Murray on the Hawks.
They look good, man.
And there remains only one undefeated team in the NBA, too.
And that's the Bucks, isn't it?
Which is, I would not have... They've definitely played really well because they're the Bucks. But
they got Chris Middleton back, man. Like,
Is he playing?
Do you play one? No, I don't think he's back yet. Is he?
He's not back?
No.
No, I don't. I was gonna say I don't think so.
Oh damn! I thought he was.
Which makes it even I don't even think they've looked.
They got Serge though.
All that good, and
Giannis averaged 38 points.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Usually can stave off some injuries if you've got that guy.
Yeah, dude.
I think.
But anyways, yeah. So like
some good, some bad.
Exactly, and I think there are certain things out of the last little bit of Raptors basketball that I would have expected, and a couple of things that I wouldn't have expected. So we're gonna get into that. So Sam, why don't you give us today's schedule?
Okay, for today, we're gonna start off similar to last week. We're gonna do a thing we liked from this week, one thing each, and one thing each that we disliked from this week. So we're talking about 3 games for the most part, Miami and the 2 Philly games. We're gonna give an overreaction to the first 2 weeks. So kind of like a hot take, but we're going to overreact to something we've seen from the Raptors. And then we'll do our player of the week, like always, and we'll do a little looking ahead at the end to the next couple games.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Cool.
So one thing we liked, Elias, you probably...
You're excited for yours. I want you to go
Okay,
first.
yeah, I am excited for mine because I was just thinking and I put it down and I didn't look at the stats. And I looked at the stats after, and the stats make me look like a genius.
So wait, before we head into this, let's say just we're talking about the Miami game, the
Philly
and the 2 Philly games. This is what this is the games
those are
that
references.
these are the references of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I know we know there's a Hawks game tonight, but like when this podcast will come out tomorrow, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, and we're not we'll talk about, but we're not going to delve into
When
the
we're
other games.
referring to things, it's those past 3 games.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this stat does not refer to the past 3 games. This refers to the whole season, but it's a trend that I really liked in the past 3 games, and it's the Raptors' late game play, specifically their late game offense. And if I'm looking at clutch time stats right now, and in clutch time, which is the last 5 minutes of a game that's within 5 points, the Raptors have the highest offensive rating in the NBA at 142, which is 6 up on the Spurs, which is second. And this is a small sample size, obviously.
This shows how early it is.
How early it is, because guess number 3 is the Jazz.
Oh my God.
And then 4 and 5 makes sense, Hawks and Suns. And the Raptors do not
and
make
the
sense.
Spurs are second.
Yeah, Spurs are second.
Yeah.
And then you get the Pacers. But the Raptors, though, have 4 games of a sample in clutch time, which is among the most out of any team in the league. 4 of our 6 games, we've played clutch minutes. And we've won 3 of those 4 games. So our offensive rating is extremely high. And it's being done in a me and Elias had a conversation about this. Our clutch, and you can see this as a good thing. There's negatives and positives to this. But our clutch time offense is very different from the traditional end of game offense, right? You think about...
And our substitutions late game too have been interesting. Like what happened the other week? It was I think it was was it the second Philly game or something? We subbed out we subbed out Gary for Chris or something like that.
Yeah, and Precious has played clutch minutes as well. He played clutch minutes in the first game.
But it's those substitutions that are so interesting because you just don't see other NBA teams make decisions like that. It's like normally when the team that you like, I guess the traditional thing is you go your 5 starters and then your closers, right? And you're gonna no matter what's really going on, you're gonna keep those guys closing to the end of the quarter. Whereas Nick Nurse is really not afraid to sub in a guy for the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. You know.
Well, you know that no matter what, you're getting Pascal, Fred, and OG, or I think are your 3. Even though I think we can all agree that Scotty's probably a more important player to this team than OG.
Mm-hmm.
I think OG's always going to close because of his defense.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty's almost always going to close, and Gary's almost always going to close. But you could see, and Fred's always going to close. But you could see Precious and Chris get in there. But what I really want to highlight is the Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet 2-man game, because that has been our clutch time offense.
With Pascal as the ball handler.
With Pascal as the ball, very rarely
You never
with
see
Fred
that.
as the ball handler. And because most teams, like I was going to say, a lot of the time they just do isolations with their best perimeter scorer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Raptors are like, I'm also looking here, we're looking at clutch time assist percentage. It's percentage of your baskets that are assisted on in that time. The Raptors are 5th with 71%. So we're seeing a lot of basically Fred screens for Pascal. Pascal gets a mismatch. He is undoubtedly going to get doubled because he's playing amazing. And even if he's playing bad, you're still going to double him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's either taking his time and like kind of beating that and scoring on his own, or most of the time he's just making a read.
Right.
And we've seen Gary hit big threes. We've seen OG hit big threes. Fred's hit big threes. We've seen him hit Scotty down low for easy dunks. So I think the clutch time offense is really, and you know, it could be a drawback that you relying for as good as Pascal is, he's not Jason Tatum, right? So it could like come playoff time, right, when defenses really lock in. Could that style of clutch time offense be difficult? It could be, but I don't know. I thought that was really positive. And just one other thing, their defensive rating in clutch time is also in the top 5 as well, top 5 lowest. So
that
doing it on both
I
ends.
can really get behind. And just to build off of what you're saying, Sam, and what you just said about Pascal, that first Philly, the first Philly game we won, the second one we lost. In the first Philly game that we won, Pascal had 25 and 13.
Yeah.
But he didn't really score a whole lot in that fourth quarter.
He didn't even score. I don't think he scored in the second half that whole game.
Exactly. Yeah. But what's interesting, though, is it says, okay, so right here, he was 7 for 16, 50% from 3, 4 for 8.
Yeah.
Right?
He hit them all in the first quarter.
Exactly. But the point is that with those 13 assists, I remember he didn't even really have a whole lot of attempts in the second half either. He was really creating for guys because they were doubling him.
He took 5
they
shots.
They were tripling him. Exactly. Like
9 assists.
Exactly. And he had a couple attempts and they were short. They were like those little spin move that's close to the basket, kind of a little push shot. But he was being doubled in every single one of those, if not tripled.
Mm-hmm.
And they were only coming up short. And it's like they were great shots. They were true to his game, and I was not mad about any of those shots. And then you see, he was 25 and 13. That's a double.
Yeah.
And those points again coming in the first half, but Pascal commands the defense, right? And so that's what makes it important, right? Because then you look at somebody like Gary, and that allowed somebody like Gary to have 27 points.
And he had 21 in the second half.
And exactly. I think against Philly, especially when Pascal has a first half where he's shooting the lights out, because it's harder for him to drive inside in games against Embiid and stuff like that. So he's having a first half like that where they're forced to double him on the perimeter. And it's hard. That's when it gets hard for him to score because he's being doubled in the perimeter. And then if he does get inside, you got Embiid down there to beat you. So that's when he's really good at creating for everybody else because he has so much space. Everyone else is all spaced out because they're all focused on Pascal on the perimeter and inside. So it's very good to see when he does that in the first half.
No, definitely a positive. You guys, your thing you liked?
What I like so far is how Nick Nurse has incorporated Christian Koloko into the NBA. I think you drafted him 33rd overall, and I think by the end of the season, like he's not going to have consistent minutes the entire season. I think once we get like Otto back and stuff like that, we'll see his minutes kind of go down. He's going to be more of a situational player rather than a consistent rotational player. But I think the way that Nick Nurse has used him and has kind of thrown him in the fire and said, "Here you go learn." It's been really good for his early development, and I think his defense has been unreal. Especially as a rookie, he's getting steals like
blocks, man, too.
Blocks,
just
blocks, of course.
unbelievable.
But the steals was really impressing me, and just getting his hands in every passing lane he can, and
he's fought for a couple jump balls.
Yeah, and guarding on the perimeter, like he's a legit perimeter defender right now. Like he's not a poor one. You know what I mean? As a really raw 21-year-old rookie, you expect him to not, especially as a 7-1 center, you don't expect him to be anything on the perimeter. You expect him to be like Rudy Gobert on the perimeter, where that's nothing. But he's actually shown it's like, I'm not going to say Evan Mobley. He's not that good at all, but he shows flashes of similarities in terms of perimeter defense to Evan Mobley. And so I like how Nick Nurse is just kind of showing him he's not scoring at all. He said like probably 12 points all season, but Nick Nurse is saying to him,
he got that one really awesome steal and then a fast break dunk off of that wide open. That's the one that sticks out to me. That was in the second
first Philly game.
First Philly game. First Philly game.
Yeah, and I just think like because especially when you're a rookie, you think, oh, I only scored 2 points this game. Coach won't like that. But he scored like 12 total points this season. But Nick's saying the things you're doing are super right. Like you're doing everything great. You're letting the game come to you, especially defensively. And he's throwing him in the game and kind of validating what he's doing. You know, I feel like a lot of rookies get very thin ice, and if they play bad for a game, then coach won't play him for a few games. That just kills their confidence.
Right.
But Koloko, he's shown serious rookie flashes where he's made mistakes. But Nick's still playing him and just being like, hey, it's all good.
And Nick is not that kind of coach, though. Like, Nick is really, like, the farthest thing from the traditional coach that does that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's definitely willing to bet on guys because if you look at the guys who have been the best for us, they're guys who had to work for absolutely everything that they get on an NBA court.
Yeah.
So he understands that Christian's going to be the same way. I've just been happy to see him out there because like we just know that we missed rim protection last season. And that was probably like the biggest takeaway that we had from the ending of last season in terms of defense.
We need somebody. It doesn't have to be good, but we just need somebody who's about something just to be there, you know? Just
100%.
Just to make people adjust their shots down low.
100%. Yeah, and Christian really he shows the flashes of being able to really provide that for us. Of course, like it's not every play. You know, there were times where I was getting extremely frustrated because Tyrese Maxey would have like just open layups, like just an easy little underhand layup over Christian, and I'm like, my guy, like
that's him being a step slow.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's just frustrating because
how many guys as athletic as Tyrese Maxey are you seeing in college?
Exactly,
right?
like you don't. He doesn't realize how quick you have to switch in the NBA as opposed to college. Where in college, like all these guys are, you know, stubby 6'1" white guys, you know, like it's
and there's less
easy.
spacing, so there's
way
like
less
it's harder to
spacing.
get downhill.
But then we have a guy like Tyrese Maxey who's like an elite NBA player at this point. You have to be there way earlier than you think you do because he's not used to it yet.
Oh,
so
yeah, 100%.
that'll come once he gets more comfortable. But yeah, no, I think the way Nick's approached Koloko so far this season is really cool.
Yeah?
to see.
Yeah, definitely unexpected too.
Especially because you have a win. Like you see that on like bad teams, like Orlando's playing Caleb Houston. He's a second round pick. You see like all that kind of stuff. But on a winning team like the Raptors, you usually don't see these late draft picks playing right out of the gate. But I like how Nick's doing it. That's just kind of an ode to our development, how we develop players and how we can find these late gems because we actually use them. So.
Well, and I forgot what I was going to say, but then I remembered now. It's like I think also we have this mindset that the Raptors in general are a fairly young team. So I feel like there's no real comparison. You know what I'm saying? Like you can say like, oh, why isn't Christian, you know, playing as good as some older player, and that's why we're gonna not play him in favor of somebody who's older. But I think like the fact that our team is just so young in general allows a little bit more sympathy for making mistakes. You know what I mean? Because we understand that every single person who's on that court right now had to go through a period of just not even playing at all to just making every mistake that you possibly could when you're out there to now these guys are actually scoring, you know, like look Pascal, he's 27 points per game now. Like it's, I mean, obviously the small sample size, but it just goes to show that I just don't really think Nick is worried about stuff like that because he knows like all the trials and tribulations the other players who are the best on the Raptors had to go through when they were just a slight bit younger than Christian. And I think what you're saying, like, and like this reminds me of this as well. It's like, I guarantee you, there are teams that do the feet to the fire thing, and it doesn't work well for players. Because I think one of the main things is they, like we talked about this last week, is they don't invest in their guys. So they're doing feet to the fire, go in there and do and play well, and they're expecting them to play well. And if they don't, they're gonna bench them.
Yeah.
Whereas what I picture seeing is going on in under the Raptors organization is it's feet to the fire. Christian's out there. they are grinding film after they're watching every single possession that Christian was on.
Yeah.
They're going and doing those exact same repetitions and practice drills with him in his individual workouts in every practice. Like that's what's the difference maker is.
Yeah, and it's having that long-term mentality, that very strict long-term mentality that teams like the Raptors, the Warriors, the Heat have with their players, as opposed to teams like Philly, for example, where they have a very short-term mentality where, like, if you're not going to help us win now, then we don't want you.
The Nets.
You know, the Nets, another
perfect
one.
example.
So, yeah, I think you really got to give credit where it's due to these organizations. The Spurs, another one, where you bring in guys that you don't just think will help you win right now, but they'll help you long-term.
Right. And
you have to be very strict with that. You really got to invest yourself into these players.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams don't do that, but the Raptors do, and it really works. So.
And I think as a fan as well, that makes NBA more entertaining because I can watch when our team isn't winning a championship, our games aren't unbearable to watch. And like for example, I don't mind watching the Spurs play. I don't mind watching some of these younger teams play. Like even a team like, I mean, maybe this isn't the greatest example, but even a team like the Rockets, like
they're fun to watch.
Exactly. They're not bad to watch because you know that I'm watching young talent.
And you get to they're letting them like be free and letting them
and you can just tell like they're invested in them.
Right.
Where like you watch the Hornets.
Yeah,
they're a young team, but they don't invest themselves into the players.
No.
Like
exactly,
like
perfect example.
They're investing in LaMelo Ball, obviously.
The Kings are kind of low key another example.
Kings
like
are kind of like
that
too. Yeah. Where you draft these guys, but like the Raptors look at it as with OG, we took him 23rd, but like any other team takes OG at 23rd, they're like, okay, he'll be a 3-and-D wing for us. Raptors like, we don't know what his ceiling is.
Yeah,
no one's telling
right.
what his ceiling is, so we're just gonna put everything we got into him. He was our only draft pick that year. You know, Malachi Flynn, we're trying, but he was our only draft pick that year. So you're trying to put as much as you can into them.
Just to say, Malachi has been unbelievable for us in the small amount of minutes
for the fact that he just never knows when he's going to play. Like when he's randomly goes in for 5 minutes, he's showing a lot of maturity.
Yeah,
and I think
and he's undoubtedly looked better than Banton so far.
Yeah,
too.
and I think 25 other teams in the NBA, if he was drafted by them, he wouldn't be in the NBA right now.
Yeah,
I think he'd be out of the NBA.
Well, Malachi.
Yeah,
maybe Malachi's kind of a weird one because part of me feels like maybe like on a personal level maybe he wouldn't be, but I feel like sometimes he'd be better off on another team because I think he's NBA level talent.
Yeah.
But just the way the Raptors play, like, his play style doesn't really match.
That's kind of how I feel about him too.
But like, say like a guy like.
But I think a lot of teams would have given up on him way too soon.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
most definitely.
Or even Pascal Siakam.
I'm saying,
right?
I mean, maybe if you trade him right now because he has a little bit more of a reputation now. But I'm saying right when he gets drafted, if he gets drafted by 25 different teams, like this, if he drafted by like the teams I mentioned earlier, the Raptors, Heat, he's good. But if he gets drafted by Hornets, Kings, Nets, Philly, he's probably out of the league by now.
Oh yeah,
because they're not going to invest in him, and he's the type of guy you need to invest in to get the most out of him.
And the Raptors need to invest in their players, right? They don't. We're not going to get anyone in free agency. Like
no, exactly.
Maybe who knows? 10 years down the line, but right now, like we are not a free agent destination in any sense of the word, right?
Right now, Otto Porter was one of the biggest
signings, second biggest free agent sign of all time, right? So
well, and even just like the pandemic accentuated this too, because I mean, I'm not going to speculate on whether or not there's not going to be another pandemic, but there are situations in which we have now realized that it is difficult, especially because of the just difference in legislation across two different countries, for players to play in this country. Not
anymore now, but
not anymore. But what I'm saying is that it's not. I think that in some players, like Kyrie Irving, for example, that's something he might consider if he were to if somebody of his caliber or later down the road would ever consider playing for, like in our country.
Honestly, I feel like I think this is a totally different thing, but it's like a quick thing on the Raptors free agency. I don't really buy the Canada part of it, even though it's definitely different for players and maybe for American.
What do you mean the Canada?
Like I don't think Toronto being a Canadian city has much give or take in free agency.
I think it does. A lot of players have said stuff about I don't want to bring a pass everywhere. I don't want to be in the cold. Like a lot of people who have left.
Well,
like Lou Williams said that.
Then.
A lot of players
nowadays,
a lot of players say, "I hate traveling to Toronto."
Changing. Like I think there's still a stigma.
Guys like New York's just as cold, right?
No,
So-
but they know. But it's like the passport stuff and it's being a whole other country.
Yeah.
It's the citizenship stuff. A lot of the NBA players have complained about it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely in the past. I feel like nowadays though, it's also
I mean,
just
a
about
few years ago though.
Yeah, I think it's also just about us, like just paying the money too. Like the Raptors just haven't also, like just gone. All right, sure, boom, we'll give you the big bag to a non-homegrown player.
Fair enough.
Right. So I think that's also part of it. But that's never. I mean,
aside from Kawhi, but like that was only.
But the Raptors, we don't even know what the Raptors offered Kawhi.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so,
no, we offered him. Yeah, we do.
the 5-year, the longer deal.
No, he asked for a 1+1
1-1,
max,
and the
and we
2-1.
offered it to. We said yes, we'll give it
Right.
to you, and he still said
Yeah,
no.
and he just chose a different place, and that's
Yeah.
Kawhi was a very specific situation, right? Because he went home. But I mean, either way, the Raptors aren't a free destination, so
No,
I
but
think it's very
I
important.
do think Canada plays a part in it for sure.
Yeah. All right, your thing.
Okay, my thing was. I'm reading from my book here correctly.
It's like the Joker, his book of jokes.
Right. My mother always said. Shout out to the
Knock,
Joker. guys.
knock.
Yeah. If you ever watched the Joker, we just watched that. First time I'd ever seen it. This past weekend. So the things that I liked, and this is something. These are like the little things that are just like as surprising as it is. NBA teams. There's a lot of NBA teams that lose games that struggle with this, and I think Philly is one of those teams. And I think athleticism plays a huge role in this. But I've been very impressed with our rebounding throughout the past little bit, and just the hustle that we've had, and our defense. I think that just like I don't think I've really complained. Like even in our loss there to Miami, I think our loss to Philly the second time, I think we still played pretty good defense in those games. I think the biggest thing out of both of those losses was the fact that we just couldn't score. Like we couldn't put the ball in the hoop. Like what?
In what games? We only lost one game this week though.
No, I'm talking about.
The first Miami game.
First Miami game. When we lost that one.
Yeah.
I just think that our defense in general has been quite good, and like we've shown that we've been able to guard guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So I don't really think that if we play bad defense on a couple possessions that really do kind of expose us, I don't think that's enough to say that we have bad defense. I think in general our defense is probably like one of the best in the NBA. And that's what makes us a good team from that perspective. It's just what are you sacrificing at that extent? But again, I don't want to get too deep into that. But also, yeah, the rebounding is really exciting because like Precious had that 22 rebound game. And that is just what I like to see because it just goes to show like rebounding is one of those things that you as a player, like you have to actively try to rebound the ball.
You need to want to rebound.
You need to want to rebound, and that's hard to get guys motivated to do that, especially like look at a team.
Especially early in the year too.
100%, and like look at a team like Charlotte, right? Like
Yeah,
what is motivating those guys to get on a rebound the ball?
Like
dude?
why does it matter if I grab this one defensive rebound?
Exactly,
when our team probably
exactly.
doesn't even want me to grab it because they want to get
You know,
Victor.
win.
Yeah, but like there's been possessions here and there that I have been a little disappointed with in terms of some of our like maybe effort in terms of what we're doing, but in the sense of an overall sort of thing. I like the rebounding. It just gives us more. It gives us extra possessions. Like I'm trying to remember. It was like I think it was in that Miami game we had in like the third quarter or something like that. I don't even think we scored off the play, but we had like 4 offensive rebounds.
Was that when we just kept shooting threes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like, or maybe Gary made the second 3. I can't remember, or the third 3. Or
I know there's
something
one.
like
Maybe it's not the same one you're talking about. But I know there's one play. I think it was against Philly though, when we got 3 offensive rebounds, and we did rebound kick out for a 3, and it was like Scotty missed the first one. No, sorry, Pascal missed the first one, then Gary missed one, then Fred missed one.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is that I think with time, those will go in.
Mm-hmm.
But like 2 guys that I just really want to shout out specifically, I guess it would be Precious and OG.
OG's been really rebounding well.
Yeah, and that's those extra possessions. See, the thing with OG too is Precious, I think, has a difficult time turning those offensive rebounds into points.
Mm-hmm.
But OG is more established with that. He knows how to put the ball in the hoop. Like especially when he gets those offensive rebounds, he's that close to the basket.
He's very patient. He puts his he pump fakes a bunch. He puts the ball down if he has to. He always did the reverse dunk thing. Where Precious always he gets in. He's like looks around. He's like, should I pass it? Should I go up?
Yeah.
And yeah.
But I've just been very impressed with that. I think that has been a really it's been a highlight of the games that we've lost, that we've been rebounding so well and playing defense.
A good stat to you. This is really interesting actually, because remember last year the Raptors' whole thing was about grabbing offensive rebounds, and we sucked on the defensive glass. So currently we have the highest. Once again, small sample. The Raptors are not going to be the best defensive rebounding team in the league, but we have the highest defensive rebounding percentage in the league by 3%. And part of that, and defensive rebounding percentage is the percentage of possible rebounds that you grab. So it kind of takes away like
it's like
if there's 100 rebounds, you grab 70 of them.
Yeah.
And that's so then our offensive rebounding percentage though is below league average. When last year we were like by far the best.
Yeah, we were like easy.
And that actually speaks a bit to how we've actually been making shots compared to last year.
Right.
And the offense has been better than last year.
Yes.
So there's been and also different types of rebounds, and that's also weird small sample stuff. But the defensive rebounding I think is definitely like 78% defensive rebounding percentage when the next best team is 75.
Can I guess the first place for offensive rebounding?
Right now?
Yeah.
Sure.
Is it Atlanta?
No, they are
they bad?
16th.
Oh,
They're
I watched a couple
tied.
games. I thought they did really good.
There's two teams. One team makes
Minnesota?
Well, the third team makes sense.
Minnesota?
No.
Orlando's one of them.
No.
Fuck, really?
So the third team was the team that was close to the Raptors last year, and it's Memphis. But two teams are far and away.
Wasn't Minnesota close to?
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at So yeah, Memphis is third for offensive rebounding percentage, and then Indiana and New Orleans are the top two.
Oh, so this is from our loss to Philadelphia. We had 30 defensive rebounds and 15 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, that's better than Hasbro
Philly,
for sure. Yeah.
Philly had 7 offensive rebounds and 34 defensive rebounds. So like that, the fact that we are getting those defensive rebounds makes a big difference. And the fact that we were able to pull down twice as many offensive rebounds as Philly, and we still lose that game.
Well, we were missing so many shots.
So we were missing so many shots. Exactly.
So
but the fact that I like the fact that even though we lose a game, we're still getting those offensive rebounds, which shows that the potential to score is there.
Yeah.
The potential to be putting the ball actually in the basket once we get those offensive rebounds. We have the potential to be doing that because we are getting on the glass, and that's not something that we really have to consider an issue right now. I think, especially with the return of one Chris Boucher, our rebounding has been even better. So
we out rebounded every team we played this week.
Yeah,
every game we out rebounded them.
Exactly.
To be fair, Miami and beatless Philadelphia aren't great rebounding teams.
Yeah, they're not really great rebounding
it's
teams.
Still good.
But that's the thing is, I think that just goes to show how important rebounds are in games, though. Like that's the whole idea behind the way that our roster is structured is that we do have these guys who, all right, you have a team like Philadelphia, right? You have a guy like Tobias Harris, right? He's I would say he's like a very very solidified, solid role player in the league. So you have a guy like him, and then you compare that to a guy like OG Anunoby. Similar heights, I guess. Maybe Tobias is a little taller. I think
they're the same height.
Yeah, it's around the same height. But why would I choose somebody like OG over Tobias? OG is like just so much more athletic. And this is what you can say about all the archetypal players that we have on our team, right?
Yeah.
It's just the athleticism is better. Even the length of his arms, the genetics that they have in terms of the length of their arms, right? Like their wingspans allows them to be able to get those rebounds that like OG absolutely in a rebound contest would out rebound to somebody like Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
But Tobias Harris is like he's a sort of archetypal player that I think the NBA likes to go after. Whereas I think somebody like OG is a little bit more slept on of a guy. But he can offer
especially
you,
back in the day too.
I think now people more woke.
Well, yeah, now it's
OG
coming around. Now it's coming around. But think about it though. What other team really is structured like the Raptors in terms of their roster?
Oh, the only team that comes close are the Celtics,
Milwaukee, kind of,
and the Magic.
Even
the Magic are very
Miami,
the Magic is similar, right? Lots of long, like athletic dudes, that's a great game plan. If you're all better athletes than the other team, usually you're going to do well. Usually you're going to do well. And the Raptors only have 2 below average athletes that play any minutes. Well, 3 if you're counting Malachi, but the only 2 like bad athletes, quote unquote, for an NBA standards are Fred and Gary, right? That play at all.
Right.
And they do so many other great things. So it doesn't even like, and usually other teams will play a lot more guys who are athletic liabilities, but those guys make up for it with hands and shooting, obviously.
We should move on.
Yeah,
to
things,
what
things
we
we
dislike.
disliked. Things we disliked.
Okay, who wants to?
I'll go
Okay,
same order.
yeah.
Sure.
Okay, we talked about this so many times in the history of this podcast, but the point of the attack, defense, and this is mainly looking at the last game, and Mr. Maxey, how he killed us, which is very similar to how he killed us in the playoff series, and Fred and Gary.
I thought I'm proud of him. that was silly. That was
Fred,
ridiculous.
yeah, it was a great performance.
I can't.
It was while he is.
What was he from 3? Like, no, you can keep talking.
Yeah, while he was responsible for his great play, we did him a lot of favors, specifically Fred and Gary, who both, once again, Fred, I think Fred's a really good defender, and Gary's a good defender, and Fred does so many other great things on the court defensively, and same with Gary, containing point of attack. Athletic drivers, neither of them do that well because, like I just said, neither of them are very good athletes. And we saw late in the game, and throughout portions of the game when the game was getting close, we saw even like Precious and Pascal, and obviously OG guarding Maxey. And so I think, point of attack defense has been an issue as long as you're gonna have those two guys in your backcourt.
I feel like Fred and Gary are too similar defenders. They don't like. Sometimes I just feel like they don't work great together. There's no one carry off the bench, but especially on defense because they both are similar defensively.
I think you wish you had. You wish that Gary was bigger and taller, where he could guard more like different guys, and you could put OG, like you can move them around a little different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Where I feel like right now it's very. There's those two, and then there's the rest.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like they're outliers on like point of attack defense.
Yeah, and we've seen Fred. Like Fred's an off-ball beast on defense.
Yeah.
And we see Gary jump passing lanes, and he's great at that too.
But neither of them can guard a guy.
And honestly, for me, I wouldn't even necessarily say it would be the height and the weight for Gary. For me, I think if he was just a bit faster, if he was
More
just
athletic,
a tad faster, he'd
Yeah.
be able to keep up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Better lateral quickness. And
Yeah,
you can get, and also like just agility around screens and stuff. Like he's just.
I mean, you look at Herb Jones. His laterals are insane,
and he's got a wicked wingspan too,
Yeah.
where he can just reach out and ball from you. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, point of attack defense, like it will be as long as.
Would you trade Gary for Herb Jones?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Me
too.
Oh yeah. Man, imagine Herb Jones under Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse dreams of having Herb Jones on his
we'd
team.
make him a good shooter.
That's how he falls asleep at night. Like one day Herb Jones will be a free agent, and he will want to come to Canada because he loves the cold.
Herb loves the cold.
He went to school in Alabama. I don't know where he's from, but
Alabama's not cold.
no, I know that's what I meant. Like he's never he plays in New Orleans.
He in Alabama. You can tell he loves the cold.
Hey, Scotty's from Florida.
Yeah,
so.
well, he didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
But hey, he
he's
still
in the
says he
league
loves
for
Canada,
Yeah.
and odds are he'll probably re-sign with us after he's done on his rookie contract.
Oh well, yeah. Herb Jones is from
Mississippi, my guess.
He's from Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Tuscany, so not cold. But yeah, that's my disliked point of attack.
He will
defense.
learn to like the cold.
Yeah, he'll learn to it once we give him $40 million per year.
Yeah.
You're just like Elias.
I'm not the biggest fan of how little we're using Thaddeus Young. Because like I'm not gonna sit here and call Nick dumb. He's a smart guy. But I usually can rationalize things, the weird decisions he makes. This one I just don't really understand. Like,
it's a weird one.
We're not playing a legit NBA player. Like I get he's kind of slow, but I mean we're in a situation right now where we need to not play our starters 36 plus minutes every game. Just take that on, put that on for 5 minutes. Like he didn't play past couple of games. And when he did, it's for like literally 2 minutes.
And even the last 3 teams we played are
exactly.
Or the last 3 games
I was
aren't.
going to say that where Philly and Miami. I mean, Miami is a little matchup wise, it's cool, but Miami's quicker. And Philly's one of the slowest paced teams in the league.
Yeah, they're
right?
not.
Like I don't understand why he's not playing in a game like that. And he's just another shot creator, a creator. I won't say shot creator, but he's a creator for others. We've had some lineups where we only have one shot creator for people out there, but or playmaker, I guess is a better word to say. We've had lineups with only one playmaker out there. Sometimes it's just Pascal or it's just Fred. And I'm like, I don't really feel comfortable with this because if anybody else has the ball, they're going to try and score and not make plays for others. If we have Thad on there instead of Precious in that lineup, for example, or instead of Delano or whoever else, it just makes more sense. So I just don't. Yeah. And you put Delano in. Delano's not fast either. Like I just don't really understand the rationale there. I would like to see Thad more. Yeah. He just brings a lot of good things to the team. yeah, he's a legit NBA player, so I don't see why we're not playing.
Definitely an odd one. I saw an interview with him recently, and they asked him about it, and he's like, "Yeah,
He said,
I don't have an answer to you." But
well, he said it's kind of weird to him too. Like he's a little confused about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's out for 2 years, so
yeah,
sorry. But
it's gonna. I mean, there's gonna come a time when Thad plays. I'm pretty sure about that.
well, Nick said it's like he's not going
Yeah.
into a game planning on playing a guy or not. It's a situational
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, like
I feel the
Philly's
situations
a
have
good
arised,
situation,
yeah.
and he hasn't done it. He hasn't played him, so
yeah.
Especially that second game, like
Why not?
it's clear
Yeah.
that Tyrese Maxey is torching us. Like, you know, I mean, I guess maybe it was because if they get that switch, like he's gonna score every
Yeah.
single time on Thad, but I don't know. I think there are more situations he could be helpful for than less.
I think
Yeah,
the
exactly.
offensive bench offense, you can keep it things like when Pascal gets off the court, just someone else to have out there with Scotty. So it's not just Scotty
yeah,
running
that's
it.
what I was saying.
Or someone else with
one
Fred.
playmaker
Yeah.
out there. Where like I just like to have a secondary playmaker,
Yeah.
which that is 100%
Yeah.
a secondary playmaker. You
Yeah.
just give him the ball and he can make something happen.
Just keep the ball moving. That's all he has to do, and he
Yeah.
does that better than like anyone.
And he was getting real minutes last year. Like I don't know what changed. Like it's
I
a
think,
little confusing.
honestly, I
for
think
me.
part of it, while they're not saying this, has to do with the fact that he is 35 and they do want him to play a role down the stretch. So I think
But I feel like
they're definitely
I feel like
think they're being
Thad. I feel like
conscious.
Thad wouldn't be confused. I feel like they would talk about that. Thad said like he doesn't really understand
Yeah.
why. Nick said it's situation. Like I don't think. I feel like if that was the situation, they would have said that to Thad.
Right.
Where we're not going to play much this half. We'll play more
Yeah.
second half, and it'd be like a mutually agreed thing.
No,
so.
yeah.
Well, then I just think also too about how much we're playing Christian, right? And I think that
Yeah.
was something that people didn't really expect either.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to take the little bit of the beginning of the season here with a grain of salt because I think there's been a lot of strange kind of things that we've seen on our roster. Like I already think. I mean, even though we haven't really seen that much of Delano, to be honest, from what we've seen, I'm surprised we haven't seen less because he has been going out there as Nick Nurse's next guy
Yeah.
on a lot of substitutions, and it's kind of like, really,
It's a tough watch.
yeah,
It just-
yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm not gonna say they're similar players, but it just makes more sense in a lot of situations to put Thad instead of Delano. Because like you're putting Delano in to be a secondary playmaker. Whenever he's in,
Yeah.
he's never in without Fred, Scotty, or Pascal.
Yeah.
So he's typically a secondary playmaker. If you need a secondary playmaker, I think it makes more sense to put Thad in
Thad, yeah.
than Delano.
And
Oh,
even
yeah.
as Thad's not a shooter, but he's a better shooter than
Better
Delano.
Yeah.
especially in the corner.
Oh man,
like,
and Delano, man, like, sorry, buddy, but
He's young.
when
it's
you,
all
I
good.
know,
It's a really tough
but
watch,
it's
man.
it's just
in a
like,
half
dog,
court,
you when you get a wide open three at the top of the corner of the 3-point line. Dog, that shit can't go off the bottom of the back of the backboard. Like
It's just
Oof.
in a half court offense against an NBA like in the summer league, preseason, and when he's in the G League, he can do great things in a half court offense. But it's because he's playing against a lower level
Yeah.
half court defense. In the NBA, where the defense is insane compared to these other leagues, he has no answer for
No.
it.
that's why it's just like I think Delano really has to be able to work on his craftiness and his finesse. Like I think if
he's very stale. I
well,
guess
that's the
word,
thing. It's
very
like
stiff.
I never see Delano take anything other than a straight drive to the basket, and it's like, why not have a hop step or add like those other little things that you can add into your drives. Add that Euro step. Add the what was the step through? You know what I mean? Or the driving
Well,
in,
he can do
stop,
those things
shot
in-
fake, and then the spin around and do the little push shot like Pascal.
He can do those things in transition though. It's the weird thing. He just needs so much acceleration to get there. But it's that half court. If the rare time he blows by his defender, yeah, he's a straight line. He doesn't do
Right.
anything else. So yeah.
I just think he can't even get to those opportunities, right? It's just what you do at the first line of the defense. That's where his issue is, right?
Yeah.
How do you get past the first guy?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point.
And
Definitely
also, I
a
think
good
that
one.
one of the reasons why it's hard for, like, this is why I can't be too critical of Delano in terms of guys like he's not getting past the first line of defense because although he might necessarily not beat them off the dribble, I think part of the reason why is because guys don't guard Delano tight on the 3-point line. They're gonna give him that space. So how can you really beat somebody off of the 3-point line? When they're standing a couple feet back from you and allow you to have that space.
And that's why it's tough when you're not athletic and not a shooter.
Right.
Like you got to be if you're gonna be not athletic, you need to be a shooter, or if you're not a shooter, you got to be athletic.
Yeah, it's tough to not be both.
Yeah, because I mean, the defense can just stand there for you.
Yeah, man. Delano's got to spend some more time with Gary, man. Like, just do some more shot workouts, and like we were saying, like if Delano can get like a good mid-range game going, it can.
I don't even think the mid-range game.
He can be a catch and shooter, league average catch and shooter, where he can drive and kick it out, and then come off a screen, then get the ball back and shoot. You know, like I don't know.
Well, I almost never see whenever Delano's on the 3-point line, I have almost never seen him shot fake. Like he never shot fakes, and that's the thing is, guys. As soon as they see Delano get the ball, they're like,
they don't care if shot.
Yeah, they're like, okay, come at me. Like I'm not really gonna go all the way to the 3-point line.
Whether
and
he shot fakes actually shoots this, gonna stand there anyway.
Exactly, and that's the thing is the only times where I have seen him shot fake, it's the shot fake that they tell you in grade school that isn't a shot fake. You know what I mean? They're like, it's the bring it to your chin shot fake. That's not really considered a shot fake.
You're not actually doing anything.
Yeah, you're not actually doing anything, and then. Guys just like, and then it's so fast and so quick that it doesn't actually look like you're gonna shoot the basketball.
Driving right into a guy.
And then you're driving right into the guy. And then that's when Delano kicks, and it's just, it's.
I was always told in shot fakes, is try and trick yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah. I was always just like, it's like, literally bring it to the actual point of release, and then take the ball away and go, because that's what people are gonna fall for.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I do see why, like, at the beginning, seeing why we would want to play some Thad a little bit more. I think it's just also, like, I think, in a sense, I think Nick does really want to... He knows how much a lot of work that a lot of the younger guys have been putting in. And I think he's just kind of testing the waters to see what's going on.
Trying to reward it.
He's trying a lot of things though. Like I'm not saying it's gonna be consistent all year, but in terms of the first 6 games, I would like to see that play more.
Well, like the thing is like, okay, like you know what Thad's gonna give you, right? Like you absolutely know what Thad's gonna give you. Whereas I think he's willing to put in Delano, willing to put in Christian, because it's not really clear what they can do yet and what they're willing to do. So it's like, how can you really get a sense of what these guys can provide for you if you don't give them some of those minutes that would be eaten away by guys like that? So in a sense, it's like...
I can see that where, for the first 10, 15 games, Thad's like the guy that just sits out for those games for the most part. And so Nick can get an idea of how to use these guys. And then once the 15 games are up, he knows he's going to go to them. And then they're back to the bench, Thad's back in.
That's kind of what happened at the beginning of last year, too, though, if I remember correctly. It was like we really saw a lot of Delano, in the beginning of the season. And we didn't really see him past Christmas, really, too, a whole lot. But when he did come in, we still saw pretty much the exact same stuff we saw.
We kind of saw Dragic get that Thad Young treatment.
But it's became permanent.
Yeah. Well, fuck Goran Dragic, but
he wanted the Thad Young treatment.
Yeah.
Don't blame me.
And so there's an example of a guy who didn't want to play in Canada.
There you go. That's a perfect example.
I don't know if it had anything to do. I don't think it had anything to do with Canada. I think it had to do with.
I think he just didn't want to be in Canada.
I don't think he just signed with Chicago.
I think Canada's a big part of it, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would Goran Dragic care about the cold?
It's not just the cold. It's the fact you have to go live in a whole other country. It's a whole different
But he already lives
life.
out in a whole different country, though.
Yeah, but he's been there his whole life.
He's not an American citizen.
But he's been in America and Slovenia his whole life. Canada's a whole other thing.
Well, think about it though. Like all of your friends,
he still lived in
your family's
Canada.
All in America. Like
he still lived in Canada for a lot of the season, though. He just sat on the bench for he lived he was there for 20 of the games of the first.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna sign to a contract,
he's on
the team.
But why stop playing though? If you're just gonna be there anyway,
What?
Like why, if he hates Canada so much, why would he even go? Like, why not just sit out?
Because he's on the team.
Yeah.
And then he literally left.
I think that would be bad for your stock as an NBA player if you did
if he just didn't go in the first place. Like he's like, okay, I'll go, but he didn't want to go.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I just think it's tough because you're just when you're not in the United States, think about it, how difficult it is even for families to come and watch your games.
Yeah, and there's the whole passports and stuff like that. A lot of these guys never leave America. Like they never had to have a passport.
A lot of just Americans never leave America.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need their passport at all. They go to you want a vacation, you go to Hawaii, you go to Las Vegas.
I think we think of it differently as Canadians, where when you go on vacation, you always leave Canada.
Always, man.
But Americans can travel all over America and get a whole different experience. But Canada, it's okay, I'm not going to stay in Canada for a vacation. I'm going to go somewhere else.
It feels, I don't know. I feel there's something more because this will be the last thing I have to say about it. But I think it comes down, it's different sports, but it comes down to money. And the Toronto Blue Jays are one of the biggest free agent destinations in the MLB. And it's all American players who they've signed, but they just pay
You said yourself though. A lot of those guys are from the Dominican too.
No,
and a lot of,
but all the guys the Jays have signed have all been Americans.
How many have we signed compared to other teams though?
I mean, we've got the biggest two. We've got the biggest pitcher in the last free agent market, and we've got the biggest hitter in the
Didn't he
year
have a
before.
reason? Didn't Gosman have a reason for coming here? Other than
No,
just
he had no
Canada?
reason. No.
Didn't he have like a family reason or something?
He's from and Springer had no reason, but the Jays just pay. I think it honestly.
But also in baseball, it's different. There's no salary.
No,
cap
it is
either.
different.
They can
That's what
afford
I'm
to
saying. It's different, but I just feel like.
I feel like because we're kind of forced to retain our players.
Yeah, I think though, come free agency, if like there's a guy who are like teams are like, oh, you know.
Oh, but also a lot of NBA players grew up in like African American communities where these guys never really got a chance to travel. Like, you know,
No, and that's definitely a part. That's definitely a part because these guys are rich
These guys
kids.
are all
Rich
rich people
kids,
from Florida
They are.
who travel all the time.
They are,
Or these
yes.
guys, like basketball players, who like for the most part, a lot of them come from African American communities where they don't get opportunities to travel like that.
No,
So,
that definitely is part of it for sure. No, it's definitely part of it.
anyway, we should move on.
Yeah, we're way over time here.
So what are we gonna move into our? Oh wait, did I
You
say?
didn't even give your dislike.
Okay, well let me just. It's not even that big of a deal, really. Yeah, it's no. So my dislike was the same thing from last week. It was possessions to points. It's like it just frustrates me how we can get again 15 offensive rebounds in the game we lose to Philadelphia
By 22.
and then we only score 90 points. It's like and in the first half they had we had only 38 points or something stupid like
Yeah,
that,
like it was
and
bad.
and they had
And we were just missing easy shots. Like
exactly that. It's just like it's the possessions to points, and I think it's gonna come in time. It's just we're a very different team, and I think that there's so much we're experimenting with, and there's so much we're trying right now. And also the other last thing, and you touched on this, Elias. We got to stop playing Pascal and Fred upwards of 35 minutes a
40
game.
minutes a
We
game,
have to stop this. It's ridiculous that we are going to destroy their bodies. We're going to wear them out. I think you're already seeing it with Fred. Fred had a difficult season last year with his knee, and I think that those issues are only going to accentuate.
I
And-
want to
4
hear
and
Nick
5
talk about it
minutes.
more. I want someone to ask him, why are you playing these guys so early in the season, 40 minutes a game?
I
Like,
think this is exactly what Nick's going to say, at least to the media. He'll be like, these guys want to play, so they're going to play, right? And we want they're competitors, you know, and we like to see them on the floor, and they like being on the floor, so that's where we're going to put them.
If you gave him truth serum, he would say this. For
need
the third year in a row, my front office has failed to give me a competent,
who's in the front office, man? What do you?
a competent scoring bench unit, which is also not their fault because Otto's hurt. But for the third straight year in a row, I do not have a competent bench unit that can score without starters.
I'm not blaming the front office for that. People don't want to sign in Toronto, bro. It's
Oh,
same.
okay.
Go back to
It's
that.
not.
Yes, it's true.
But not every single bench player cares.
When they
about
have
that.
an offer from Miami or Toronto, who do you think they're taking?
If you get $5 million more, $3 million more, when
We
you got the
can't
MLE.
though. We don't have enough money for that. We don't want to go into luxury tax.
Yeah, I'm just saying though.
But that's
we
what
could.
I'm saying. Elias, so Sam. Why would we have to pay $5 million more in the first place?
Oh, sure, that's definitely different. But also,
Got
same reason though. Same reason that.
Let's go.
But also, I mean,
Sam's
okay.
kicked off the podcast.
Last time we're talking about this, but also like it's just a small market thing as well. And the Raptors they shouldn't be a small market.
I
but
think for the most part, if an American player gets a Toronto offer and a Milwaukee offer, they take Milwaukee.
that's the same money.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Oh, totally. But I'm just saying though. There's I would be more
Our
sympathetic.
point exactly.
I would be more sympathetic to it if just pay the fucking tax, please. At least just part of the tax. Like just
luxury tax.
yes, please just pay the tax. Like if we paid the tax, you could
They're gonna make a new rule where that's not a thing
yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
Which I like.
So just please, and I think if you gave Nick a true serum, he's like, okay, I don't have a bench. Like,
But I don't think it's the front office's fault. I think the front office didn't try to not get scores.
I should say not the front office's fault, the resources fault that are given to those things. That's what I'll say. If they win, because I think
you mean you're talking about
luxury tax.
Yeah.
That's I think it's
Yeah. Larry Tannenbaum's an L.
just fucking pay just pay a little bit. Like look at the Warriors, man. Like you should have no excuse. Like those guys pay well. Those guys will pay anything.
I guess that's more their owners willing to do it.
exactly right. That's what I'm saying
Yeah.
though. Like just if you paid the tax.
Do you know how luxury tax works?
What?
Do you know how luxury tax works?
Oh no.
Basically, it comes out of the owner's pocket. Once you get into luxury tax, it comes straight out of the owner's pocket.
Oh okay.
So the owner's
Team's
paying.
But isn't
pocket,
it?
yeah.
Isn't it?
Team's pocket?
Doesn't MLSE?
No,
kinda
it's
own
the
the
MLSE.
Raptors, though?
It's
Like
the owner.
Yeah, MLSE's pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like it's not necessarily the Raptors aren't necessarily owned by a single
No, they aren't.
entity, right?
No.
And it's
Well, they're owned by the MLSE Corporation.
right.
And also, MLC does have to incorporate, like, they have Toronto FC
Yeah.
and the Marlies and the Maple Leafs, too.
Yeah, it's a lot there.
You know,
They can
every
pay
time,
them.
not as simple
every
as-
time I see you write Player of the Week (POTW), it just makes me think POW,
Prisoner
prisoner
of
of war.
war.
Yeah, I'm like, God damn, who's our prisoner
Like,
of
it's
war?
like,
this
like
week?
who's in the doghouse? Who's in the
Yeah.
doghouse?
Yeah.
I'm just saying-
Who would if we had to restrict someone to a concentration camp because of how they
gosh.
played in the
This
last
week,
week?
yeah.
This
Who-
week,
who is
who's
it?
going into?
Who's
Who's
going
going to
in
be our
this
prisoner
week?
of war? Who's going to be our concentration camp appointee?
Jesus.
I was going to say a name, but I decided
Hey, I'm not saying anything bad's going to happen to a concentration camp. I'm just saying that's a camp where they concentrate.
So the people that take way too far.
Yeah,
He
don't
played so bad. The guy overreacts. He just goes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though, pay the luxury tax. We would have.
Yes.
At least I would be sympathetic to just fucking pay the tax so I can get Will Barton or someone. Okay, that's all I ask for. Okay, someone who can dribble off the bench, please. That's all I'm
Yeah,
asking
I just
for.
want to make sure we're clarifying it's not the front office's fault. The front office is doing what they can.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I mean, there are things they've done wrong, but like give Kembridge 3 years, 20-something
Yeah,
million.
that was whack.
That money could have gone
Yeah, that's
to one
extremely
Bruce
true.
Brown.
Just the
You
3
can't
years.
dribble, but
I would rather give Cam a 1 year 20 mil than a 3 year 20
yeah,
mil.
just to
dude.
get it
Like,
off. Like you're not.
yeah.
Yeah, if you're not gonna pay, if that 20 mil is not going to anyone anyway.
Yeah.
Give it to Cam.
For 1 year.
But have it
instead-
off the books so we
just
can
get it
give
over
that,
with.
yeah.
Yeah, because 3 years is wild for Cambridge.
Also, please pay the fucking tax. It's not that hard.
Okay.
All right,
Moving
over.
on.
You want to announce
Okay,
it?
yeah. So, guys, we're going to be moving into the next section of the podcast. And this is where we are going to be giving takes that we are overreacting to. So, just to preface this before we actually do this, is that we don't necessarily believe these things full or wholeheartedly. We're just kind of over exaggerating some wild takes that we have, and that's kind of like how we're gonna structure this.
Yeah.
You go first.
All
in
right.
order.
All right. My overreaction based on the first 2 weeks is that Pascal. I mean, I'll read about this. You know what? Let me change. Let me make this even more overreact. Pascal Siakam is one of the 3 most versatile players in the NBA. Most versatile.
And just overall most versatile.
Two-way things they do, roles they can take on. Not the best. Just
I don't think that's a crazy hot take.
Top three is.
It
I'd
was
say
top
top
5.
3 is hot, but I think
It was top 5.
I think
I
with-
would say he's top 5.
I would say probably like who else are we thinking about here? We're gonna say Giannis.
I guess, but I mean, even like Pascal's more versatile offensive.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
Giannis
yeah.
is.
I'm saying like
Yeah,
Pascal.
I guess when we're speaking strictly versatility, yeah, that's a
Pascal
tough one.
can score more levels than Giannis
Yeah,
can.
exactly.
and
yeah.
what I'm
More
saying
effectively.
is Pascal like
Except at the free throw
and
line.
it's also roles.
And
Like,
Giannis
like,
sucks free. They're
like,
probably equal.
Like
but
roles.
yeah.
Like he could be just like the playmaker role, or he could just be the scorer role and an awesome defender. And he just does a lot of stuff, you know. Like
I'm really trying to.
I'd say
think of-
Luka is up there, right?
If we're talking overall, it
But
includes
Luka could
defense.
just be yeah, true defense.
And Pascal's versatility defense.
I think
Are you
Jokic-
talking overall,
Jokic-
including defense?
Yeah, just everything you do. I think Jokic is
Dude,
number 1,
I-
even if his defense isn't great.
But that's the thing is Pascal's better off the better like on a drive.
I don't think so. I mean, Pascal's probably better off the drive. Yeah, I think Jokic though is like Jokic could be like Jokic should lead the NBA in scoring, or he could lead the NBA in assists,
Or both.
or both. Right?
That's the thing is
what I-
okay. So well,
That's what I'm saying. Like
this
most
is
like,
making me mad because now I'm trying to think like you put Pascal and Jokic in a 1v1.
saying-
Pascal's gonna beat him off the dribble
but
every
that's a
single
different.
time.
That's not versatile though. That's not different. That's not versatile though.
I'm just saying that. Well, how's that not versatile?
But that's only one aspect of the game. I'm just saying like. I don't know.
But in
It's-
a pocket, like I just feel like I'd be able to trust Pascal doing more different things.
Oh,
than
I don't know.
Jokic.
I disagree.
I would take Jokic.
Yeah.
Well,
I understand, like, Jokic,
offensively,
yeah.
I'm taking Jokic. Defensively,
But
taking
like Pascal
but-
can hit a step back. When
But
was the last time he-
Jokic
Jokic
has
setbacks, yeah.
I don't think not in
Yeah,
the same,
yeah.
not to the same athletic
it
ability.
looks different.
Pascal has rise on his shot.
Oh, so does
But Jokic shoots up.
Jokic doesn't need
Yeah,
rise.
no, I know, I
He
know
just
what I'm
shoots up-
saying.
Like Jokic is
I get
an
that.
elite mid. Like Jokic can just be.
Yeah, but that's
Jokic
because
is-
he can shoot over everybody. I'm
just-
like,
it just looks
That's
different.
not necessarily because of athleticism.
No, it's not. But
No.
But,
But
he,
he still does it.
And Pascal doesn't really do his. Pascal does his with length more than
I guess
athleticism.
I'm kind of thinking versatility. I'm thinking you have to be a certain level of athletics to be versatile. Like especially in a full NBA game, like in a 5v5 game, Versatility, I think, in a certain sense, comes down to athleticism.
I'm just saying, like, Jokic is
But I think
an
he can do it
awesome
with
3-point shooter,
athleticism.
an awesome mid-range shooter, an awesome driver, an awesome finisher.
Yeah, he's
and
that,
and is also
exactly.
probably the best passer in the league.
I
you know?
don't like. What I'm saying is I don't really think that that's like a super hot take. I think that that's actually like
Top 3 isn't hot enough.
I don't think it's hot enough. I think saying he's number 1 is hot.
Number
But,
one.
like who else are you gonna
I'm
put above
taking- I'm
LeBron?
still- I'm still taking LeBron over him.
LeBron.
I'm-
I still think Jokic.
I would take Jokic over him for sure.
Giannis?
Luka, but I still think Pascal's more athletic than Luka.
I would take
Yeah,
I would
he
take
definitely is.
I would take Giannis over Pascal because
Yeah.
Giannis's defense
Just
is
how
better.
good defense he is,
Yeah.
and still how amazing an offense he is.
Yeah, like he can't.
and he's also a great passer.
Honestly, Giannis just shoots. I guess he doesn't shoot more, but I think Giannis. I take Giannis over.
Yeah, Giannis
Pascal.
doesn't have as
But
good
it's just
touch
like
in
I
between.
hardly ever see Giannis pull up for a mid range.
I
Like,
guess
you know what I'm
I guess
saying?
the
Like,
argument
have to.
he doesn't have to.
I
Yes,
know,
he
I know,
can.
but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about versatility,
Yeah.
doing the
No,
most
but
things possible.
Giannis is still like a probably league average mid range shooter at this point.
I know, but that's the thing is like, is he really taking as many mid-range shots?
doesn't have to.
I know that's what I'm saying, but versatility. If we're talking about versatility,
Right.
then we're talking about like of how much does absolutely everything does one player do?
Right.
Well, no, it's
Right?
not do. It's how well they do it.
Yeah.
It's not just the level they do it, but it's how well they can.
Exactly, and I think like if you're talking about Pascal, like I would say that he does it a lot and he's very good at it.
Yeah, that's a good argument for it.
I think top
Who
5.
else?
I think
Yeah.
he's certified top 5.
Yeah.
Easily top 5.
Yeah, maybe that's not as hard as like, damn. Okay.
Like another player I'm
If you
kind
said
of
he was the
thinking
best, that'd be hot.
like if another player I'm kind of thinking of, but
most
we
first
haven't
time.
seen them play enough is Kawhi.
Kawhi. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Kawhi's playmaking's gotten better.
Yeah, and there's also like games when Kawhi will just grab like 17 rebounds.
Yeah.
Just because he can.
Well, he
Like,
can shoot. He can go off
shoot,
the dribble. He
can
can
defend.
he can hit. He can finish around the rim like
Yeah.
in a post sort of
He
sense.
doesn't really. Kawhi doesn't have. Kawhi now his weakness is his legs, like the health of his legs.
Yeah.
But like he doesn't really have a like gameplay weakness.
He doesn't have a flaw.
No, there's literally no. His flaw was
Um,
playmaking, and he fixed it. But yeah, maybe it
Maybe
wasn't.
I'd take Kawhi over. Maybe I'd take Kawhi over.
Yeah, maybe-
Just because Kawhi does more things more elite than Pascal
Yeah,
does.
like yeah, maybe it wasn't. Damn, maybe it wasn't.
Even Jimmy Butler's in that conversation too.
Jimmy Butler versatility. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's tough. Maybe it is a hot take saying top 3 because
Yeah.
there are some more guys.
He's yeah.
but yeah, no, that's a good one.
It's a hot take.
I guess you'd say KD is probably like
KD.
super versatile as a
Yeah.
player.
Yeah, it's true.
We see him pass and stuff.
Yeah.
My very hot take is that free throws could be the downfall of the Toronto Raptors season.
And I think
Ooh.
I could possibly agree with
And-
that
Like
as well.
like
Yeah.
downfall in what way? Like we
And
lose a
it
playoff
mean-
game.
It means we don't make the playoffs because of free throw shooting.
we don't
And
make
here's
the
why.
playoffs because of free throw shooting.
Yes, and here's why.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, you wanted a hot take, but also listen to this.
These are overreactions,
There are
so.
probably, I would say, at this point, what I'm seeing, 11 teams in the East who can legitimately make the playoffs, and I would not be surprised if they
Make
made it.
the top 8.
Yes, make the actual playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made it.
One. Yep. I see. Yep.
Meaning that a lot of these games that are being played, and we've seen it so far through the first 6 games, besides this last Philly game, these have all been extremely close games.
Mhm.
If the Raptors are shooting free throws horribly
Yeah, they are.
so far this year.
How many free
Horribly.
throw attempts do we have as a team?
I think the attempts are fine. I think it's the missing is
No, that's what I'm saying. I want to know how like
Oh,
what's our overall percentage
yeah.
of attempts and like amount of times we're getting to the league, because you could say, oh, this team's percentage is really great, but it's like, well,
Yeah,
they only get to
right
the free throw
now
line.
we're bottom
you know.
5 in percentage, and
I
we
think we're middle and a half attempts, right? Like in the
are-
middle for attempts.
Yeah, we're like bottom 10 in attempts.
Yeah. I think that's because of the last game, so we didn't shoot in the
Yeah.
last game. But yeah, so we're gonna have some of these close games. If we're missing 8 to 10 free throws a game, and the point differentials are 4 points, we're losing a game, losing a really close game. There's gonna be a lot of close games. Ergo, we lose too many games, we're gonna go to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
and I could see that, and it is so frustrating when we are a team who, like, I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but it's like, I think part of our game and having these long athletic guys is having guys being able to get to the free throw line.
Yep.
And it's, I think part of that also has to do with the fact that, like, you don't necessarily have to depend on one guy getting to the free throw line all the time, because that also opens that player up to more injuries, right? Like if you're gonna say, oh, Pascal, just head on every single time. This game, like, and like game after game after game, like Pascal's gonna get injured. Someone's gonna poke his eyeball out. Like it's just how it's gonna be, right? And that would be the same at any level of basketball, really. If you're telling one guy to get all your to take all your fouls, but with our sort of design of the team and the fact that anybody can get to the free throw line, if that's going to be a vital aspect of your team, you got to make your free throws. Otherwise, what's the fucking point of getting there? Like, you could be in bonus for the entire second half in each quarter. And if you don't make your free throws, it doesn't even fucking matter. It only matters in the sense that maybe one of their guys, couple of their guys get foul out of the game. But then again, one thing we saw in the Philly game was we went to the free throw line. Well, in the first Philly game, I think we went to the free throw line a decent amount, but no one on their team fouled out. No, like it's just because like, oh, you know, Tyrese Maxey maybe had 2 or 3 fouls, and then Tobias Harris had 2 or 3 fouls, and DeAnthony Melton had 2 or 3 fouls. You know what I mean? It's just so dispersed, right? So yeah, you absolutely do have to be hitting your free throws. We talk about this all the time. It's like,
that's such a pet peeve of mine, though, is not making free throws.
Well, especially okay. There's some guys in the league who I don't blame for missing free throws. Okay, like I don't necessarily blame Giannis for missing a free throw. There's some guys like, especially when I look at your shot form and I look at your fundamentals, and judging based off of your fundamentals, Pascal has great shot mechanics.
Yeah, and you said this. You said this before. It's like there's certain guys in the NBA that weren't mentally basketball players, but they're just tall, and the teams made them basketball players. Whereas there's other guys who are just naturally talented scorers and shooters and stuff like that. So they're better. But like, yeah, guys like Giannis, who wasn't necessarily born a basketball player, he was developed one. He was developed into one. The free throws are, more behind. But.
Exactly. Well, and it's not really a part of the game in the sense of the active game. It's part of the passive game because no one's guarding you. You're just there all alone, right? But it's just it frustrates me because it's like if I can look at your shot mechanics and think to myself, oh, like this person has like a great arc on the ball. Like the way that you hold the ball is exactly textbook of what people teach. There is a textbook way to shoot a basketball. This is known. This is absolutely known of the optimal way. Shout out Dave Hopla. and it's there. This is absolutely known. The proper way to shoot a basketball. There is a proper way to shoot a basketball. We know what it is. It's pretty concrete now. We know how, like, the exact almost shot mechanics you should have. I mean, they vary from person to person to a certain extent, but it's like kicking a soccer ball or throwing a football. We know how to do it. Like there is a one and true way how to do it.
And I think by saying that, you've shown that that there is reason to believe that it's going to improve because there's not a lot of guys. Sure. Like, for example, Pascal's missing a lot of free throws, and Gary for some reasons missed a bunch. Those guys aren't have bad shot forms.
No.
They haven't had real issues in the past. I don't think the Raptors are going to be a good free throw shooting team this year because they weren't last year.
They need to be decent, at least better.
I think they're going to be league average, and I think it's going to average out. But that's a good take because like a lot of close games, gotta make free throws. Goes for everything, right?
Yep.
Like every part of the game, like it's going to matter. Your overreaction, Luke?
All right, my overreaction.
I feel like it's going to be crazy.
It is low key kind of crazy.
Oh no.
We need to trade either OG Anunoby or Fred VanVleet.
Whoa.
Not Gary.
No, I was thinking about Gary, and I probably could include him in the conversation too.
If you're gonna include
Fred or OG?
Yeah, and
why?
It's just because we talked about this. It's just like we have, like, again, this is an overreaction. Yeah. I don't want to trade these guys. I legitimately don't want to trade these guys. But the only reason why I'm saying that is because, like, is Fred having the, like, again, he hasn't been performing to the top tier of what we know his capabilities are, and I don't want to take his sample size from this season as to saying this is what we're gonna have of him for the rest of the season. But like, if we know what his skill set is he not more valuable to us as a trade asset rather than a player we have on this team? Like, or and I want to say the same thing about OG. Like, in a sense, it's like, these guys have value for us, a lot of value. And if you can somehow maneuver a trade in which you can keep athleticism and maybe go a little bit more true to the archetype of player that you're looking for, and then even maybe trade both of them or some sort of
OG
package.
Is the guy we're looking for.
I know, but maybe some sort of package in a sense where you trade a couple guys and then.
So what do you want back?
Yeah. What? Like what? How
Somebody,
do you
somebody who's a little
improve?
bit more of a proven scorer. I don't know. Somebody who's a little bit more of a proven NBA player, who's like around Fred's age maybe, but you trade a couple guys away and you get a bona fide proven scorer.
So my counter to that is, and I know you're saying it's an overreaction, so I'm not going to take it very seriously. But first of all, Fred, I think, first of all, Fred's numbers this year, he's taking a step back.
But we
knew that. And we knew he was going
podcast, We said that.
And he said, I think Fred's had a really awful last game of.
Other than that, honestly,
I thought he's had a really great year, and he's had massive shots for us.
Can I say this one thing?
Yeah.
I do believe, actually, from what I've seen on social media, people have been way over criticizing Fred VanVleet. I saw a comment under a post recently.
We should trade him.
It's my overreaction.
Everyone's
No.
criticizing Fred.
That's not my argument,
I know,
though.
I'm just saying,
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that because again, that was my overreaction of a statement, and there's a different argument to back that up rather than from what I'm about to say about Fred VanVleet in general. He only is valuable to us as a trade asset if I do believe that he is a good NBA player. You know what I'm saying? Like, what goes to back that up? And I think, like, just, I'm not going to take this too long because I know you want stuff to talk about what I was about to say, Sam. But I just personally think that I've seen comments on Instagram and a couple things just on social media and in Reddit that have been way too overcritical of Fred VanVleet. And it's like, you obviously haven't been watching the games and only been looking at the box score, because Fred VanVleet has been, other than this recent Philadelphia game, Fred has been steady Freddy. He's been the guy that I'm like, I've almost no reservations or worries about, no matter. And he's been more athletic than he was showing at the end of last season, which is great because you hope he's going to recover from an injury. But I just think people are overreacting. It's like I saw some guy comment on the Instagram page and like they were saying Fred VanVleet over the last 6 games. And they're posting his numbers, and he was like, got to get those numbers up. And I'm like,
it's a different role.
Yeah, it's
he's
just
taking
a
almost
different
7
thing,
shots.
man.
He's taking almost 6 shots less per game.
Exactly. Think about it. Last game, how many threes did Scotty hit in that last game against?
2.
He was what? Wasn't he 2 for 2 or something like that?
He was 2 for 4. Maybe.
Hold up. Let's see. Let's just check it real quick.
Yeah,
3
my
for 4.
Scotty Barnes,
3 for 4.
3 for 4. Yeah, he was 75%. Like, bro, if Scotty's gonna be making, no, obviously he's not gonna make 75%. But if Scotty's gonna shoot and take and potentially make more threes, obviously that takes away from the threes that Fred could be shooting. But who do you want shooting more threes in the long run?
Fred.
I personally, in terms of Scotty's like development.
Oh, I'm saying for winning though.
Oh yeah, if you want to win games for sure.
He's saying if Scotty and Fred are going to shoot the same average, should he want to shoot them?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
But I think I would rather trade Gary over either of those two.
He's the only guy I'd consider trading.
I would say I would trade Fred over OG.
I would too. That's why I put Fred's name first. I just don't think you could get the same package.
Yeah, I think you get more for OG. But
yeah, well, I mean, if you had to show me the trades, I'm saying just generally, I'd rather keep OG than Fred.
I think trading Fred though does hurt losing a leader like that.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying I want to do it, but I'm saying if you make me pick one, I'm gonna pick Fred.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, like let me just say this, okay? This would never happen. I'm just using this as an archetypal person.
Love you, Fred.
If you trade Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby and you get somebody like Brandon Ingram, or
No,
even
yeah.
like
God,
that's what I'm saying is like a bona fide scorer. He's decently young, or even Zach LaVine. Maybe he's a good example, a better example.
You're trading both, and that's all you're trading now.
Like you're trading. Maybe you like.
Okay, I will do that if the front office will pay the luxury tax to sign Gary Trent Jr. back.
We get it.
But we can't trade all 3 of them.
But do you trade OG and Fred for Brandon Ingram? You're losing so much shooting.
Yeah.
And then we become such more one-dimensional team. I don't know if I do that.
Maybe Zach LaVine's a better example because he's around that age, but he's around the same age as Fred. But
I would trade Gary and Fred for Zach LaVine.
Yeah, maybe not OG.
Not OG. I think we need OG, man. OG is like I think every team in the NBA wants OG Anunoby on their team.
Yeah,
everybody wants OG Anunoby. I think we're very lucky to have OG on our team.
Yeah,
and he is one of the best of that archetype in the league.
But that's what I'm saying is I don't think you could make that trade unless you give away Fred and OG rather than Fred and Gary.
You say make that trade, so you'd rather have a Zach LaVine than an OG. And a Fred.
I think it's if you're making the trade, teams would be much more willing to get OG and Fred than they would be Fred and Gary.
But then are we getting desperate if you make that trade?
Yeah, like how does that help the Raptors?
I don't think that necessarily makes us desperate. I think we still have another like a great other
But does that send us to the next level? Like those are 2 big pieces you're giving up for Zach.
Because you're losing, and also that means one of your. I just don't think we have the depth to backfill.
I just think that the consistency you're gonna get out of somebody like Zach LaVine is going to elevate your team.
Yeah.
And like I just think he's just more of that. He would be a superstar for us. Like he would be the main guy.
I will say I didn't think his defense would be better on the Raptors. Like we'd probably fix that a little bit.
And it was better last year too. So
Yeah.
But it's definitely a weird one.
That was a wild one.
That's a take,
the
bro.
fact you didn't include Gary and that was weird.
Yeah.
I know, but like I said, Gary was my next choice. Gary was my
Gary,
next choice.
I think,
Because
is-
the
But
only
like-
reason why I didn't say Gary again is because if
the
we're thinking
value?
about the actual trade value,
Sure.
you're not going to get the same people out of a trade for Fred and OG as you are going to get for Fred and
And
These
Gary.
guys been watching rebuilds.
And Gary
on YouTube.
Gary might be getting traded. Gary
Have
getting
you?
traded might not be a hot take
I
anymore.
know.
Yeah, well, Kenny's videos a lot.
You
but
sound like Kenny.
Yeah, like 2K, like my league, like
Yeah.
trade finder. Let me get all
You're
my
like,
players.
Gary's only 2 stars, but OG's 3 stars, so I'll trade OG.
And also Gary Mike.
Obviously, this is an overreaction.
Yeah.
all I'm saying
Yes,
is just
yes,
that
yes,
it's
yes.
just that
He doesn't
is
actually want to do this.
I don't want to do this, but I'm saying is
I
that,
don't wanna do
like
this.
I think that I think there is like a subset of Raptor fans that are like, do we have to make a change? Is a change necessary? I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube recently talking about like Raptor videos talking about if there is a change that the Raptors need to make, like in terms of making a trade. And it's like,
Talk to me in 2 months.
yeah, like that's exactly
dudes
right.
gotta
This
get their
is
clicks, man.
yeah. This is why my
Actually, talk to me in a year. Talk to me in February.
Dudes, just guys gotta get their clicks, you know? They gotta,
Yeah.
they gotta make
But
their-
at the same time, it's like I also think to a certain extent, if we're seeing the same problems in 2 months, their arguments are valid. You know
What
what I
problems
mean?
are we
like,
seeing though?
well, just if
I
we
don't
don't
know,
have the
yeah.
consistency of scoring and all this sort of stuff.
But
like,
we have though. I don't know. But I mean, it's always fun to think about like trading guys, and I do think that there's gonna be some sort of shakeup just because of contracts, not because of play. Like there's gonna be a shakeup. Gary Trent, most notably, is most likely. Like if one of those 5 guys
If
gets
someone's
traded,
getting traded, it's gonna be
it's gonna be Gary Trent.
yeah, no. That's the realistic
And it's
trade.
not
That's
even-
that's
yeah.
the trade that
And
the
it's
Raptors
sadly-
would
And
make.
if you said that, it would be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's
I had
that's
fun
good.
with that.
That's
That was
very
fun.
good. That's a very good overreaction hot take.
Yes.
Right
up the
Okay,
alley.
do we even have
Before
time
we
for-
go really quick, I just want to. Did you guys know the Lakers are 2nd defensive rating right now?
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't that
But also,
crazy?
I looked into it. I saw a thing. I saw it on Twitter talking about this, and he said their defense is really good, but teams have shot like 20% worse than average on open threes.
Oh,
So
so
teams are just
getting
missing.
lucky.
Yeah, teams
Oh.
are
I was
missing.
gonna say
Yeah.
because the Lakers games I've watched, the defenses look better than it did.
Yeah.
and it's definitely looked better than their offense.
Yeah.
but like, it didn't look like second.
No,
in the
no,
league.
teams-
like
yeah,
it looked
teams are
like
just-
good, like looked good,
yeah.
but it looked like wow, you
Yeah.
guys are amazing at defense.
No, yeah, just one of those weird
yeah, that's
small
funny.
sample things.
Yeah, okay, that's funny.
Okay, you guys want to do
Just looking ahead real quick.
Well,
or do
dude-
you want to player? I mean, player of the week.
Oh yeah,
Pascal Siakam's mine. Not very original, I know, but
Yeah, mine was Chris Boucher because I just like. Can I talk about Chris Boucher for a second?
Sure.
here? Okay. Like everyone's gonna be like look at how much of my voice here is on the audio because of like my last hot take. I'm trying to defend myself here. Oh shit.
It was the funniest part was you said. Yeah, we trade Fred or OG. Everyone's overreacting. We're trading Fred, man. Like, really, it's like you're from wanting to trade Fred to defend Fred in like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
it's funny.
yeah. But anyways, well, yeah, exactly, yeah. But I just want to talk about Chris because Chris is in a sense for us like Otto Porter Jr. And like in the way that he is a solid, proven bench player for us, and he provides. He's already got some amazing shot blocks. He can contest shooters. He can guard guys out on the perimeter, and he does actually. As much as people like especially other teams' commentators like to make fun of Chris whenever he's kind of bodied in the paint, he actually can hold himself pretty well. Especially guys on the drive, like on the drive where there is not a whole lot of. Where Chris doesn't do well is when it's against a center like Jared Allen, somebody who stays down low, right? And
Like,
that's where they work.
When he does get nudged away, he's just so long, right? Where he gets
Yeah.
nudged, but he's still like his arms over here.
Exactly.
So-
Whereas if Giannis is going off the dribble from the 3-point line, Chris can hold his own. Like he's not necessarily going to get bodied every single time.
no, and he's got great length.
He's
too,
got the
so-
length, and he can guard all different types of players. And he his last couple games with us have been phenomenal. He's scored anywhere from 10 to 15 points just the little things that you need. His 3-point shooting has also looked so much better than last season. He's hit a couple corner threes for us. He's hit a couple threes at the top of the 3-point line. And what's his current 3-point percentage right now?
62.5%.
Okay, that's obviously yeah, of course, but
He's the greatest of all time.
But then again, but actually, in a sense,
His free throws 40%.
but so how many 3-points has he attempted so far this season?
He has shot himself a whopping 5 for 8 from the 3-point line.
And see, I think that even though that's small, that means of the attempts that he shot, he has played a decent amount of minutes these games. Look at the minutes per game. Like where's my minutes per game here?
17.
51 minutes.
Yeah, like and
17 per game.
oh, this is season.
This total,
this is on the
this total,
season. Oh,
this
I see. That's exactly. You're putting him for a little bit of time out there. You're not really like a total points. What am I looking at for points? Total points, 31 points over 6 games.
3 games. He only
Or
played
sorry,
3.
no, he's only played. Yeah, exactly. He's only played 3 games. He's played 51 minutes in 3 games. Shot 5 for 8 from 3, and had 31 points. That is if that doesn't define a
Doesn't
like
scream MVP to you? Huh?
well, a solid just bench player for you. I don't know what does, because that is just he's been playing how we want him to play. He's been rebounding great. What's his rebounds looking like here? Total 9 rebounds total. Again, that's not a whole lot, but then he's got 7 defensive rebounds. Like he's still getting on the glass.
I will say he has looked way better than he did a year ago today.
Yes, absolutely. And that's my point. That's my
Yeah,
point. It's
yeah.
like I think just even at the end of last season, he's already looking better than he was at the end of last season.
And it's also nice to see that the injury hasn't. Like
Yes.
he's looked athletic. He's looked fast.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see the injuries.
Yeah, and that's why I chose Chris, because he's just been like.
He's come back and done exactly what we asked of him.
Yeah,
to do.
and like whereas you haven't seen that from a player, you really haven't seen that from to the same extent. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's Gary, because like I just expected a step up, at least even in the first couple games. Like I know that's a lot to put on a guy like Gary, but if your role is to be the shooter on the team, and in the last game against Philadelphia, you kind of shit the bed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to like Gary's had a 27 point game already.
Yeah, he's
That's
averaging
fine.
about a point more than last year,
And right now he's
averaging 39% from 3.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
shooting 40% right now.
on
Yeah.
9.3 attempts. Like
I guess that's better than what I was thinking. But even still, I guess I just haven't seen. I don't know what
his game hasn't transformed in any way. Like he's got a
He's the
couple
same player.
tries,
He's the same
but
player.
I mean, and he's the same player. I was expecting him to be the same player. I know you have a different opinion on him, but I mean, he's doing.
I
doing
just
what we need
expected
of
him
him,
to
yeah.
be doing a little bit more breakout. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not necessarily like 1 point over. I would maybe like for the first 6 games of the season, I would expecting him to be averaging maybe like even close to 3 more points than he is.
Like
right
coming
now.
out of the
But
gate super hot.
Coming out of the game super hot. And I was expecting that. So like
To defend Gary, though, I think he had his big coming out that right before we traded for him in Portland. Or I guess the bubble. I guess the
Yeah.
bubbles kind of broke
Yeah.
out. So, I mean, like, it's hard to expect him to do it every year to have a big jump like that.
No,
But
for
I do know what you mean, yeah.
But I just like I don't know. I just think that if I'm thinking about him as a player and his ceiling, and my personal opinion on Gary Trent Jr., I think that he could be a sub superstar. And it's like, you know, I just want him to be putting up those types of stuff. You can't do that without consistency. You can't do that without having a 27 point game night, and then the next night you score 23. The next night you maybe score 31. Like, you know what I mean? Just keeping, like, we talk about this with Pascal, but keeping the variability in his scoring, stuff like that. But anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about Gary. I'm talking about Chris. Thanks, Chris, for this past second week of Raptors basketball. Great to see you.
My player of the week, just really quick, is so I didn't have Pascal and Chris were objectively the 2 most standout players this week. So I'm just gonna say my player of the week is Fred VanVleet. Man, keep your head up.
Yeah,
Just for his
positive.
ego,
Yeah.
just for his confidence.
Yeah.
And if you don't play well, we're trading you.
All right. Looking ahead, I have a better way to do this now because I've been looking at the schedule in weird ways. Okay, so we've got the Hawks. We played the Hawks twice, right, this week?
Nope.
Once. Okay. So we're done playing teams
Nope, we don't,
twice
Sam.
in a row. So this week we've got the Hawks tonight on Halloween night. Ooh, some costumes. Yeah. And then quick.
That's such a dad thing to say. You're like, we're the Hawks on Halloween.
And then a quick little road trip. San Antonio on Wednesday.
We're in Texas for a little few days
and then Mavs on Friday, and then we will be at the next game on Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to a
Yeah,
Raptors game.
we're going to be going to a
that
Raptors game. I guess we haven't announced that yet, but
If you care at all,
Yeah. So
we'll be there.
If you guys want to come meet and greet, all 20 of you maybe.
Yeah. You gotta sign up.
all of our subscribers and 55
Yeah.
subscribers.
If all 55 of you who are definitely watching this right now, who want to come to the Raptors game that we're going to and pay $400
just to
and
see
come,
us.
you come see us,
Yeah.
we'll be
We
there.
also have a charge to see us.
Yeah.
You don't need us for free.
We'll be doing
photography.
signings. It's a big
Yeah.
it's a-
Yeah,
There'll be
we got a stand.
security.
Imagine if we had a RapChat stand there. That'd be crazy.
That'd be funny.
We could like put one up and no one would yell at us.
We get let away within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Why are you using our logo, our Raptors logo on the chevron?
We get sued.
Yeah, super copyright. But yeah, 3 games this week. Little road trip.
Atlanta's gonna be really fun.
Atlanta will be a fun
they've been
one.
playing very well lately. They match up. We don't match up well against them. Well, like it's different matchups, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting matchups.
Yeah.
So it's not evenly matched up. So that's gonna be interesting to watch.
That'll be
See how
fun.
we do it. San Antonio's been red hot.
Yeah, always fun playing
and-
young teams.
Yeah, and they always seem to beat us one game every 2 years. So
Yeah.
every year they beat us one of the two. So
There's always a pesky young team.
Yeah.
And the Mavs, see how they defend Luka. That's always
I'm really
interesting.
excited to see our
I think we'll do well against the Mavs. We usually do
yeah.
well against these one superstar teams.
Yeah, and we are. I would say we're definitely more athletic, than the Mavs.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So I think I just want to see our athleticism against a team like that. They're another one of those like
They're slow paced.
teams like Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But they are a team that I totally could see going to the Western Conference Finals this year, and it's like
Didn't you say no when I
No,
said
he
that?
agreed with you. I said no.
Oh, he agreed. Oh, yeah. No, I
Fuck
knew you
the
disagreed.
Mavericks.
I knew
Jalen
you
Brunson,
disagreed.
remember? 'Cause he doesn't
Yeah.
like- I mean,
No,
he loves
I
Jalen-
thought
sorry,
you. I
he
thought
loves
you-
Jalen Brunson.
I thought you agreed with him. But yeah, I remember you agreeing with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew Sam was the.
I don't think the Mavericks are a playoff team.
I'm just the tiebreaker
That's
here,
crazy,
boys.
I
dude.
can't, bro. Victor Wembanyama's gonna look good in Dallas blue. Oh man.
That'd be wild.
Oh.
But yeah, so
But,
that'll be a really fun game.
yeah.
If Dallas drafts Wemby, I'll buy you the jersey. I'll buy you 4 of the jerseys.
I don't want a Dallas jersey. I don't like their colors.
Just blue and white.
What do you mean? Yeah.
I'm joking.
You kind of do like Dallas jerseys.
I know. I actually like them too. I like them too.
Yeah, sure,
All right.
All right.
Okay. Anyways,
Sure you
do. Wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up here. So we want to thank every single one of you for tuning in and listening to the RapChat podcast. Remember, we post podcasts on Mondays and weekly videos. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating, and also please leave us a review.
Please.
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter
Yes, you
at the
can.
RapChat Official,
At the Rapchat Official.
where we post clips of the show
All
and
the
all things
time.
RapChat and Raptors related.
All the time.
We are your hosts, Luke Dick.
Elias Eldridge.
And Sam Kenny.
That's Sam Kenny, everybody.
Peace out.
Later.